Okay, so we're doing text 7 today. Sayat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapi Avidya Pittopatapana Rasanasya Narochikani Kinta Adara Anudinam Khalau Seva Jushte Swadvikramad Bhavati Tadgad Mula Hantri. The holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya, ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. So, I've mentioned to you in the past, right? So, there are the 9 stages of bhakti, which this whole 11th verses they cover the whole process of bhakti, right? So, we talked about how the first 3 verses were Shraddha, then the next 3 verses are Sadhu Sangha, and then the 7th verse, it covers many aspects. So it talks about how we go from not being able to taste the chanting, but to going to a level where we can actually taste it. So that comes after when you do service and all our anarthas are cleaned up. Then we become determined in our process, and then other taste comes. So this verse covers 4 steps of those 9 step bhakti process. So first 3 was Shraddha, next 3 was Sadhu Sangha, and this 7th verse covers Bhajan Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha, and Ruchi. If you don't remember this, this was the verse that I was referring to. This comes in Bhakti Rasamrita Singh, Adhau Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sango Bhajan Kriya. We talked about it when we started Nectar of Instruction, and these steps that we have here. Okay, so to today's verses, text 7. Okay, let me. Yes. So Bhajan Kriya. So I'll just go. Bhajan Kriya means Kriya. There is some activity involved. Okay. Bhajan means devotion. Bhajan is basically devotion, but Bhajan Kriya is devotional service in itself. So we what we do when we do Bhajan Kriya is we are taking a stand. We are saying that, okay, I am going to chant now. I've become receptive to this knowledge, and I'll start taking in the instructions that have been given to me. But then, unless I have not created a proper environment, my heart and mind, in my heart and mind, I will not be able to receive those instructions. Right? So doubt and faithlessness continues to distract and disturb all of us. We might come in contact with good instructions, but it doesn't take root in our heart. Why? Because there is a lot of doubt and faithlessness. There is distraction, disturbance. That's why the first 6 verses help us strengthen us, that help us get rid of our doubts, reduce our faithlessness, creates faith in our heart. The distraction goes away, the disturbance is minimized. And when that happens, then we are able to take in the good instructions, right? So one important aspect of this step is that we acknowledge our shortcomings. We understand that I need improvement, I need help. When I take that stand that I need help, then I'll get the power to overcome my anarthas. Anartha means bad qualities. Right? When we keep practicing consistently and sincerely, our intelligence becomes fortified. It becomes strong. It becomes resolute in its purpose. And because of the receptivity that we have created in our heart, we have accepted that, yes, I want to take up this process. Krishna sitting within our heart will tell us, do this, don't even think about this. So devotees directly feel that and they experience this illumination of the Lord from within. So Krishna Nama Charitadi. So this verse is Krishna Nama Charitadi. So the It means, so Sayat means is Krishna, of Lord Krishna, Naam, holy name, Charitadi, pastimes and character. Okay? The qualities, pastimes, character. Sitapi means they're as good as sugar candy or sugar cane juice. Right? Avidya pitopatapana rasanasya. But our tongue is covered with ignorance. Or in other veins, our consciousness is covered with ignorance. Na rochi kanu, ruchi, right? We know in Hindi, ruchi means interest. So when our consciousness is covered in ignorance, then we don't get any interest or taste in the Nama Charitadi, the name of Krishna. Even though they are sitapi, even though they're sweet to taste. Okay. Actually, there is not just that there is no taste, it actually tastes bitter to us. Right? However, kintu, adrad anudinam. Adar means respect. Anudinam. Anu means follow. The word anu. So here the word, where's that word? Adrad carefully. Anudinam. Anudinam means every day or 24 hours daily. And we'll see what that means. When we follow regularly, consistently, khalo eva juster. So khalo eva justa, khalo eva, khalo eva certainly, justa taken or chanted. So khalo naturally. So when we do it regularly, then when we consistently keep chanting and associating with Krishna's name, Swadvikramat, gradually those big things become tasty for us, tasteful. Why? Tadgad Moolahantari, because disease of the avidya is destroyed at the root. Mool means root. Hantari is destroyed at the root. So the disease is avidya, ignorance. Right? And chanting is vidya. Mahaprabhu says in the Shikshashtakam, Vidya Vadhu Jivanam, Ananda Buddhi Vardhanam. So he says Vidya. The chanting is like Vidya. So once we come over that anartha nivritti, all our negative aspects have been washed away by our chanting process. We develop a solid taste, right? And all the other characters like nishtha, determination, ruchi, taste, that it starts manifesting itself. Okay. So we have been given a clue of the symptom, cause, cure, and beyond the cure. So, uh, and the example that is being given here is of a person who is suffering from jaundice. Okay. I don't know if anybody of you had jaundice. You know, in India, when you get jaundice, you're asked to drink sugarcane juice. And when you first start drinking that sugarcane juice, if you are jaundice, that sugarcane juice tastes very bitter. But then the cure lies in that sugarcane juice. When you keep drinking it, and when your disease, the jaundice is going away, you're becoming healthier. Then that same juice, which was tasting bitter, it's now tasting as sweet. Because you took that juice as a medicine. So your sadhana is that medicine that you need to repair the disease state that we are in. Okay. So what has Cheto Darpana Marjan? Mahaprabhu says, right, in Shishatu, Cheto Darpana Marjan. So that happens. Our heart gets cleaned of all the negativity, and that juice becomes tasty. And the juice means the chanting, the holy name of Krishna. And so what you are reading in this book, don't think this is all philosophy. This is an actual realization of Rupa Goswami. Okay. So he says in one of his books that he wrote that wish I could have thousands of ears and thousands of tongues. That was what he was saying, Rupa Goswami, because he was relishing. He had overcome that anartha nivritti and he had developed ruchi in that process. Okay. So that and you so that there's a verse you can read, Tunde Tundavani. I don't remember the whole verse, but there's a verse there which Rupa Goswami had said. So this is not a theoretical book. Whatever is written here has been practiced, it's been approved, it's been relished by the author himself. relished to an extent that now he's asking for millions of mouths, thousands of mouths, so that he can chant the name and thousands of ears that he could hear the name. So, uh, he even says he doesn't know what kind of a taste or what kind of uh, amrita or nectar does these two syllables, krish and na, have. Right? So, so what is the cause of the disease? We are being told is avidya. That's the cause of the disease, ignorance. And how do we know we have avidya? Can somebody give me some thought around how would you know that we are in avidya?
The
Somebody can.
mind wanders away while chanting.
Yes, mind wanders away while we are chanting. Okay, what else? What else do you think is another reason, another way of understanding we are in ignorance? Yes, Kesha.
Since avidya is technically ignorance, so you can check physically, like if you're feeling like in the Bhagavad Gita, it talks about the different qualities of people in the mode of ignorance. So if you just feel those, or if your mind isn't like focused or calm, then you can see that you're in avidya.
Okay. Yeah, that also is correct. In a broader sense, we all can realize avidya by the fact that uh, how to say it. I have become forgetful of my true nature. Right. That's why, as you were saying, that it's because we are distracted the whole time. Why are we distracted? Because I've forgotten my original nature, which is Satchidanand, means that is full of bliss, that is eternal, and it's truthful. It is so there's I have forgotten that nature that's blissful, and I'm looking for happiness in all over this world. And that's why I'm distracted because I didn't find happiness in one place, so I jumped to the other one, to the third one, fourth one. Yes. So we have forgotten our true nature, right? And that avidya is so strong that even time cannot destroy it. Just imagine that. Everything will be annihilated when this everything crashes up. The moon will be gone, the sun will be gone. But me as a living entity, when the annihilation happens of the create of the universe, everything and goes back and merges in Mahavishnu. And then when the right time comes, again, millions of universes are created from Mahavishnu. And all the living entities are again brought back into this universe. And they are reminded of, hey, Premdham, this is what you wanted. Okay, here you start again. So it stays dormant and then it comes back again when we start over. So avidya never dies, right? So once Prabhupada was in a temple somewhere and there was a cockroach that entered his room. Prabhupada picked up that cockroach and he let him out of the window. And Prabhupada then was he saying that I give you the whole world to enjoy. That was what Prabhupada said to the cockroach, right? And devotees at that moment got a glimpse of what Mahavishnu thinks when he creates the world. He looks at all of us and says, hey, little Jiva, go enjoy this world again. Go continue your material enjoyment. Avidya only goes away by the mercy of a sadhu. That is why we sing so many prayers for our Guru, Om Ajnanati Mirandhasya. And then we sing that Guru prayer in the morning. Yes, Chaku Dan Dilo De Janme Janme Prabhu Se Divya Gyan Hirde Prakashito. Right? Divya Gyan. That please enlighten me. I'm in ignorance. Timirandhasya, Andhasya. I've been living in ignorance forever. Right? That's the power of a Guru. And we can never pay back our Guru. Understand that. So the best you can do is serve, follow what your Guru is telling you, what Prabhupada is telling us. That's the best you can do for your Guru. Don't even think that I can repay back my Guru. You can never do that. Right? So this is how avidya is the cause of the disease. Now this avidya leads to forgetfulness of our nature and our relationship with Krishna. And this leads to, as we heard, getting distracted by Maya every now and then. And because we are distracted, we take false shelters in Maya. We take shelter in money, we take shelter in property. And when death comes, all of that shelter disappears. All of it, right? Uh, it's amazing. Everybody wants, like, oh, everybody's thinking, oh, this is my son, my daughter, my wife, my husband, my father and mother, and they're in love with them. But the moment that person dies, they're just dying to get the burn of the body, the same body that they were so attached to, right? So it's a very uh, ironical thing to see that at one point we were so much in love with the body, and then when the person dies, uh, we immediately plan to bury to burn the body, right? So therefore, these are all called bad shelters because they will not come to help us in the worst of our times. Right? But still, against hope, we keep investing time and effort in these shelter. This is avidya and it's our symptoms. We are forgetful, distracted by Maya, taking false shelter, working against hope, despite so much of heartbreak and disappointment in this world. So this is on an individual level. Give me a second. Okay, so yes. So symptoms of the disease, cause of the disease, and cure of the disease. And so these are three things. So the cause what I just talked about was on the individual level. Okay? And Prabhupada talks about this. So Prabhupada, in the purport, he talks about the analogy of the sugarcane juice tasting. And then he talks about individual, and then he talks about collective, how we are conditioned. And he says people in general are misled by blind leaders. The leaders of human society, the politicians, philosophers, and scientists are blind because they are not Krishna conscious. So that's a collective cause of disease. That's what I was highlighting. So individual, yes, we are forgetful and we take shelter of Maya and so forth. But then there is on a collective level something happens, right? So collective level, the cause of our suffering is atheistic leadership. People who are stooped in ignorance of knowledge and spirituality, they mislead others, and blind follows the blind. Andha yatha andir upagiyamanam. Prahlad Maharaj says that in seventh canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? Andha yatha andir upagiyamana. There's a blind person following a blind person, and eventually they both fall in the ditch of ignorance. Right? Right. So disease can be on an individual level, on a collective level, right? So persons who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of an enjoying material life and who have therefore accepted a leader or a guru who's a similarly blind man attached to external sense objects cannot understand that the goal of life is to return home back to Godhead and engage in the service of Krishna. As blind men guided by another blind man, miss the path, fall into a ditch, materially attached men led by another materially attached man are bound by the ropes of fruitive labor, and they again and again in the materialist life they keep suffering, they keep following in the ditch. Right? Krishna describes that in the seventh chapter, Namam Dushkrinito Mura Prapadyante Naradama Maya Aparta Jnanam Asurim Bhavam Ashrita. That there are four kinds of people, four kinds of atheists who become our leaders. Not only they propagate the wrong philosophy, they also actively oppose Krishna consciousness and they disturb the endeavors of devotees. So they never surrender to Krishna themselves and they also disturb others, distract others. Right? So therefore, doing good japa is important for all of us. Okay. And there is a way to look at us. Look how you are. Where does our japa stand? Okay. Um, you can look at 4 levels. Okay, when you are doing your japa, there are 4 levels that you can look at. Okay. Uh, First one, helpless failure. Okay. I couldn't even do my rounds. Okay, so that's helpless. I'm just helpless. I can't do. I've been slapped around by Maya so much that I can't even do my rounds. So that's completely helpless. Okay, that's first level. Second level is there is a struggle. I barely complete my rounds. There's a struggle there. Third level is successful struggle. You make a determination, you finish your 16 rounds. Yes, I was tortured by my mind, but then I was able to control my mind also at some point. Not that I was perfect. No, that's not where I was. But I was trying, and I succeeded sometime, I failed sometimes. It's okay. So that's the successful struggle. And the last step is effortless struggle that goes beyond all the temptations. And it eventually, uh, we start hearing with the heart. Our heart gets engaged in that hearing process. So there are 4 levels. So you can try it when you're chanting this following week. At the end of the japa, grade your japa on these 4 scales. Was it helpless failure? I hope nobody was on helpless failure. Please complete your round. You're struggling. You were successfully struggling. You were able to counter your mind sometimes, or effortless struggle. So just see where you lie. It's always good to know where we stand. Okay. So I'll take a pause here and see if that made sense to everybody. If there's any comment, question, any thoughts before I move forward.
Hare Krishna Prabhu,
Hare
could
Krishna.
you make it like a real short statement of Bhajana Kriya? I understood that at that stage you take the instruction into your heart. You create the receptive environment in your heart. But what is exactly Bhajana Kriya? Is that just devotional service?
Well, bhajana kriya. So kriya means activity. Okay. So bhajana kriya means bhajan means your sadhana. So when we do sadhana with so in broader sense, you can call it as devotional service. There is service involved. There is a physical activity involved, and there is a practice involved, which includes chanting and the 4 regulative principles. However, on the stage of bhajan kriya, we are doing it with a sense of duty. I don't have my heart in it. I'm just doing it because my guru told me, Prabhupada told me, some senior devotee told me. I'm just following it. So that's bhajan kriya. Did that make sense? Or should I elaborate upon it further?
I missed it. I'm so sorry. I missed the part that you mentioned.
Okay, so let's look at it. So the literal meaning, bhajan means devotional worship or practice, right? Chanting,
Yes.
singing, that. The word kriya,
Right.
the word kriya means activity.
Mm-hmm.
There's an action involved. So bhajan kriya
Right.
means the activity or process of devotional service. When you are doing chanting, you're worshiping, when that is performed with a commitment and with a structure. And when I say structure, I mean what Prabhupada gave us. You have your
Yeah.
16 round chanting, you have your 4 regulative principles. So that's bhajan kriya, regulated devotional service.
Okay.
So that's the first point where we formally start engaging in devotional activities. There's a lot of struggle involved. Our mind is not under our control. Our lifestyle might not be conducive for spiritual practices. But when you do that activity, everything around you, your environment, starts arranging itself to make it favorable for your bhakti process. When I started 15 years ago, 13, 14 years ago, I didn't have a proper sleeping cycle. I would wake up whenever it's a weekend. I would wake up late, and so eating habits were not regulated. But over the years, my eating habits have become regulated. My sleeping habits have become regulated. I brought a proper structure in my lifestyle so that I can include these bhakti processes in there. So that's my bhajan kriya, a disciplined, intentional life. Okay. Any other
So
thoughts?
that cannot.
Sorry, go
So
ahead.
that cannot happen
Sorry, your voice is breaking. I can't hear you.
That this disciplined. Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes, you're clear.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, sorry. So yeah, so this. Oh, so forget it. I'm sorry.
No, go
I'm
ahead.
not muted.
I can hear you clearly now.
So this can.
Oops, I lost you
Oh,
again.
okay. So yeah, so this cannot. Oh,
Oh, I think you muted yourself. Hare Krishna. Okay, then let's try later. That's fine. Anybody else? Any thoughts? All well? All clear to everyone? Someday I will have a quiz at the end just to see if you have all understood what I said. And I hope you all are reading the purports. I don't have to mention it to you. Read Prabhupada's purports. There's no other way to become strong in our bhakti process. You can hear every famous speaker on YouTube or shorts and reels, every flowery language speaking guru or whoever it may be. But the whole process, the growth in our bhakti will come only from Prabhupada's books. Okay. Nobody else has any thoughts. Let's move on. Okay, we were at. Yes. So we talked about cause of disease, individual and collective. Okay, that was the step. So let's go back to the purport and see what Prabhupada is saying further on. Okay. So he talks of avidya and and then Prabhupada, he brings out he says that where was that? I was reading something. The real disease is in the heart. Okay. And that's a very important thing. In the 15th chapter, also, Prabhupada mentions this, 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in the last verse of that, 20th verse. Prabhupada explains the weakness of the heart. And how Prabhupada explains that, weakness of the heart means, I want to do something, but I still cannot do it. It's like the disease that Dhritarashtra had. Everybody was trying to explain to Dhritarashtra, you are wrong. Your children are going to die. You cannot fight against Krishna. He's Bhagavan himself. But he told everybody, oh, I understand what you're saying, but I still cannot implement it. And that's the disease we all have. My heart knows what is right, but still I don't get the strength to do it. So that's the weakness of my heart. That's the weakness that Prabhupada is talking about here. That there's a lot of unfulfilled desires. There are a lot of samskaras from the past. There are thoughts. Our consciousness is full of them. Whatever I think, it leaves a ripple in us. We carry these impressions from many, many lifetimes. Right? So the heart is going through constant agitation. And that's the disease Prabhupada is talking about here. Right? Impressions from our hearts forever. Right? And Prabhupada categorizes all the misconceptions. There's a Brahma. Brahma, the word Brahm in Sanskrit means confusion. It's a confusing state for us. Who am I? I'm an American. I'm an Indian. Right? And we have designations. I'm a Hindu. I'm a Muslim. So forth. All these designations are nothing but confusion, misgivings in our heart. That's a disease of the heart. Where did I come from? Who's the cause of all the causes? Right? Some people say we came from nothingness. We'll go into nothingness. Right? Some people say that, oh, sex life is everything. Asatyam apratishtamte jagatahur anishwaram. Paraspara sambhutan kim anne kama hetukam. That's the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says that. Kim anne kama hetukam. Kama means lust. But there's no other purpose in this world other than being lusty. Right? So that's the kind of disease that we all are carrying in our hearts. Might be different diseases, but we all are diseased, right? Uh, like when, I don't know if she, but I saw a video many years ago. There was this guy who went to the school and he was asking every kid, "Oh, what are you going to become? What are you going to become?" And I remember very distinctly, one of the kids said, "I'm going to be a truck driver when I grow up." Who wants to be a truck driver? I'm not saying it's anything bad in that, but it's a very hardworking, low-paying job. For that kid was just unaware. Oh yeah, it looks fancy. The guy's driving all the time. He's got he stops and sleeps wherever he like to. So he thought it might be good. But is it good? No, it's not good. Right? So we don't know what is detrimental to life. Cigarette packs, they say tobacco kills, but it's a billion-dollar industry, billions of dollars worth of industry. Right? Anybody can guess what is the tobacco market, the value of the global tobacco market? Anybody can think of it? Give me a number. Just think of a number. Hare
Something
Krishna.
trillion dollars.
How many dollars?
Something trillion dollars.
Yeah, you're close to that. I remember reading it in 2020 alone, when the year COVID hit. That year, the global market was $780 billion. So yes, it must be hitting a trillion by now. Yeah. So we all have these misgivings in our heart. That's called the weakness of the heart. If you all get a chance, read the 15th chapter, last verse, 20th verse. Prabhupada talks about the weakness of the heart. And he very clearly explains how that weakness transforms from our mind to our heart. So you all must have realized this. When you really start, giving fully to something, your heart gets connected to it. When you know somebody, it's okay. The person is in your mind. You like that person or you don't like that person. But when that person, you really get too attached to it, the thoughts of that person come down to your heart. And that's where the effect happens. So similarly, all these misgivings, the disease that we are facing in this world, we have been exposed to it so much that it has filtered to our heart. And that's become a weakness of the heart. Prabhupada talks about that in the 15th chapter. Right? And by chanting, all these misgivings are destroyed, are eradicated. I get a proper conception of who I am. Right? If you all have read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a story of Haridas Thakur. There is this prostitute who comes to distract him from his bhajan kriya, from his chanting. So she comes first night. Haridas Thakur says, "I'm sorry, I have to finish my rounds. Once I finish my round, I'll come to you, and then you can enjoy with me." First night passes by, the prostitute is waiting, and she falls asleep. Next morning, he again, Haridas says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Why don't you come back tonight, and then you can enjoy. I'll finish my rounds, and then we can enjoy." Same thing happens the next day. He's chanting, chanting, chanting. She falls asleep. The third day, she's transformed. So she realizes that what she was doing was wrong, and she herself becomes a devotee. And she takes initiation from Haridas Thakur. Right? So her heart got transformed. Right? So by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one, or associating with pure devotees, one is immediately freed from the blazing fire of material existence. Right? Now, some of you might come back and say, "Hey, I've been chanting for a long time. I still see that fire burning in my heart, the fire of material existence. So what is happening? Am I chanting it wrong?" Say yes. And Prabhupada talks about it in this purport. There are 3 stages of chanting the holy name of the Lord. The offensive stage, the stage of lessening offenses, and the pure stage. Okay. So let's see. I thought I had a picture somewhere. Yes. So the 3 levels of chanting, they have been named as Nama Aparad, Nama Bhas, and Shuddha Nam. So same thing as Prabhupada is telling us. There's an offensive stage. The second step, the Nama Bhash, the offense is going away, there's clearing. And the third is a pure stage. So these are the 3 levels of chanting that Prabhupada is referring to in here. So let's think about these a bit more. Right? Before we jump into these 3, Krishna is not different from his name. Understand that. His potency is fully present in the name. At the same time, Krishna is also reciprocal. He's not static, he's not void. He's actually a person who reciprocates according to our devotion, right? So, although Krishna is always omnipotent, he's always in his name, we need to recognize that whatever is manifested to us is essentially based not just on Krishna's potency, but also on our receptivity, right? For example, um, in India, or if you might have seen, there are analog fans, right? You have a knob and you can increase the speed of the fan, one, two, three. And here also, I think you have table fans and they have these knobs. So it's not that the electricity is reducing or increasing. No, the amount of electricity is coming same. Is 100% power being given to the machine. But the speed at which the fan rotates depends on the progressive progression of the switch. More the switch progressive towards in the right direction, more energy from the fan can be experienced. Similarly, the people who are atheists, who are envious towards Krishna, they cannot perceive Krishna at all. However, for those who focus on him, Krishna's power becomes manifest to them, depending on their receptivity. Right? And that's what is being referred to here in the three stages. Okay? So so look at an analogy. Okay. So the topmost stage, which was the Shuddhanam, the topmost stage is Shuddhanam. Oops, sorry, jump back to them. So Shuddhanam. So Shuddhanam, understand Shuddhanam as a sun that is completely risen, that's come out completely. You can see the big ball of fire up in the sky. The second stage, which is the Namabhas, is like the rising sun, right? The sun has not come out yet. You can't see it, but still it's light. It's daylight now. You can see it's been clear to you. Right? Its effect is visible to you. Okay. So, but then Nama Aprad is where the sun has not risen. Right? So these are the three stages. Understand it from those three perspectives: the sun rising. Nama Aprad, sun is not out. Nama Bhas, you can see that there is a light, but you cannot see the sun by itself. And Shuddhana, the sun is up in the sky, it's a bright ball of fire, and you can see that everything is illuminated. Okay, so here, let's look at the lowest one, Nama Aparad. The word Aparad, what does Aparad basically mean? The word Aparad has Radha in it. Okay.
Offense.
Yes, Aparad means offense. Or if you look at the literal word, that which takes away from Radha. Aparadha. Apa means is taking us away from Radha. And who's Radha? Radha is the divine energy. So divine energy of Krishna. So it's taking us away from Krishna. So aparadha means anything that takes away from Krishna. To the extent our consciousness is directed elsewhere, to that extent we cannot relish the sweetness of Krishna Bhakti. And it's not like the sun is not effulgent. The sun is always effulgent. But whether we see it or not depends on the time and location on the earth. Where am I? So similarly, Krishna will manifest to us depending on where the switch of our consciousness is and how receptive we are. Okay, so understand it from that analogy. Now look at another analogy. I'll give you another analogy. So Nama Aparad, the lower stage, it's like having a gun with no bullets in it. Okay, so let's say somebody is chasing me. There are thieves chasing me, and eventually I confront them, right? So I might take out I might have an empty gun in my pocket. I might take it out and show them, right? So some of the thieves might run away, right? So pointing an unloaded gun is not completely useless. Similarly, chanting at the low stage is not completely useless, right? But then it does not completely help us get rid of all those thieves, right? It does help us to scare away some of those thieves. But then the Namabha stage, the second level stage, is like a gun with only a limited number of bullets It has to be loaded every time you shoot. You might have seen in old movies, right? They shoot and then they have to load the bullet again. It's a very slow process. And you only have a limited number of bullets. And the topmost stage, the Shuddha-nama stage, is like an automatic gun, like those AK-47 machine guns. You have an unlimited amount of ammunition. You can keep firing. So Namaprad, the offensive stage, Namabhas, clearing stage, and Shuddha-nam, chanting at pure stage. As we progress in our chanting, we will experience the potency of the holy name. Right? At present, even while chanting at the offensive stage, we may gradually experience peace. We may gradually experience a purity, some presence of Krishna. We may experience calmness of mind. There'll be a decrease in lust, anger, greed. Right? Even if there is some experience, but it's not full experience. Right? So we want to experience the full power of the holy name. But we should not be discouraged thinking that I am not able to access the power of the holy name right now. Even with little power of the holy name that we are accessing, we can see significant transformation in our life. Such experiences should inspire us to keep moving forward progressively in our spiritual path. Okay? So Krishna always reciprocates. So don't think that, oh, my chanting is useless, I should stop chanting. No, that's not the way it works. When you keep chanting, then all those offenses keep going away. And eventually things become better and better. If you are sincere in your approach, I've said this many times, I'll say this many times throughout the course. Sincerity and consistency is what Krishna is looking for. When you are sincere in your practice, in your heart, you're trying your best. You're praying to Krishna. Krishna, I'm trying. I can't still focus on it. Krishna comes in to help you then. That's the beauty of the process. So that's even with little power coming from Krishna, little attention in our holy name, we see significant transformations in our life. But that doesn't mean we should not aspire for more. We should aspire, but at the same time, we should not get demotivated, depressed because we're not able to chant at the highest level. Okay. Right. So, and it's also important, we've used the word aparad here. What does aparad mean? What does offense mean in a literal sense? How would you know whether I'm doing an offense or not? Offense is perpetrated with a sense of malice in my heart. I have a sincere intention to hurt somebody. That's aparad. That's an offense. But unknowingly, accidentally done, that's not counted as an aparad. There might be some repercussions, but it's not counted as aparad. Krishna ignores it. Okay? So what's measured by the Lord is one's submissiveness and sincerity. Okay? And there are many ways to improve chanting. You all might be aware of them already. You can chant with, you can have a picture of Prabhupada in front of you, or if you're initiated, you can have a picture of your Guru Maharaj, your spiritual master. You can chant with other devotees. That helps. You can make a sankalpa. Sankalpa means you're taking a vow. Okay? And that vow could be at multiple levels. Augmandino is an author, and he writes in one of his books, never greet the dawn without a map. What that means is, don't wake up in the morning without a plan. Always make a plan before you're going to bed. Right? Eat light before you go to bed. Sleep as early as you can. Don't sleep at 2 in the morning and then expect that you'll wake up fresh in the morning and be able to chant. No, don't do that. Try your best to avoid that. Okay? Try your best to avoid phone before sleeping. I'm not saying I do that. I also sometimes sit down and watch my phone. Sometimes I read books before going to bed. I have them near my bedstand, on my bedstand. So when you look at a phone before going to sleep, what happens is that your eyes are going through a diurnal cycle. What that means is your eyes also realize that the sun's gone down, so it's night now. I don't have to exert so much. But then suddenly you expose the eye to these bright lights coming from our phone. which is not good for our eyes. Our eyes become blurry, they become heavy. I have personally noticed that sometimes when I'm looking at my phone and go to sleep, in the morning I wake up with very heavy eyes, and I'm just not able to focus on it. So, sankalpa, wow, you can set some priorities in your life. You know, that okay, no, chanting is my priority. You can have that purpose in your mind. And most importantly, every day read Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada's books teach us what is my relationship with Krishna. Sambandha Gyan. Sambandha means relationship, Gyan means knowledge. It deepens our Sambandha Gyan, our knowledge of our relationship with Krishna. I know many devotees who chant a chapter of Bhagavad Gita before they sit down to chant. It helps them focus their mind. So, obviously, I'm just giving some things. My chanting is nowhere good. I'm just struggling myself, but these some things that help me. I've known devotees that helps devotees. So, but then look no further than discipline in your life, discipline in your practice for happiness and success in life. Right? I talked about receptivity in the beginning. The more receptive you are, the higher levels of bhakti descends upon us. You cannot get up and grab bhakti. It doesn't work that way. You cannot demand Krishna. Krishna, I've been chanting for 10 years. I need my Shuddhana, my taste now. No, it will come whenever Krishna wants. What happens with practice is that our intelligence becomes stronger. When your intelligence becomes stronger, you're able to distinguish what are the material desires, what do I want to avoid, what is okay to do. So, intelligence is born out of sincerity. And Krishna says that himself in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 10th verse, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajata priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam ye namam upayantite. Satata, the word satata, Tesham satata yuktanam. Satata means continuously, consistent. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajata purvakam. Bhajata, who's praying to me constantly. Tesham, and then what do I do? Tesham satadiktanam bhajata priti purvaka dadami buddhi yogam tam. I give them the knowledge, buddhi, to come to me. So your job is to be sincere and consistent in your practice. Krishna will reciprocate. It's the assurance Krishna is giving. In this world, that's the only thing that there is 100% guarantee for. Nothing else in this world is 100% guaranteed. But it's 100% guaranteed if you're sincere and consistent in your practice, Krishna will reciprocate. Always be in a preparatory mode, always preparing yourself that, okay, yes, hopefully today I'll get Krishna's mercy. Okay? So just make yourself a better person. Yeah. And I think I mentioned this in one of the earlier discussions. There are 5 things in our life that you can divide your life in. You have to take care of all of it. You have to take care of yourself. We talked about self-regulation. You have to take care of your spiritual programs. I have a strong morning program. And nothing beats that. If you have a strong morning program, your sadhana will always be strong. You'll always be, there will be no faltering. Right? And then you have other things in life. You have your family, you have the occupation, your job, and you have service to the society. So in that same order, take care of yourself first. It's important. As you all know, when you go into an airplane, they tell you if there is low oxygen, the mask will fall down. You yourself put the mask on first before you put it on your child or somebody whom you want to help. If you are not fit, you cannot help anybody. So yes, self-care, spiritual practice, and then meeting needs of the family, the job, and then service to society. Let me see if there's anything I missed, Prabhupada talking about it. No, all got there. Okay, yes, that's the discussion. Any questions, comments, thoughts, criticism?
So your first your self-care first thing in the morning is not necessarily devotional service.
I didn't get your question. Sorry, you have to repeat that. I didn't understand it.
You said the self-care first, then devotional service. So morning program for your personal, incidents, you would have something for yourself first before you start doing pujas and chanting.
Well, when I say self-regulate, self-care, okay, sorry, I should elaborate upon that. When I say self-care, I mean regulation and balance. That's what I meant. Taking care of your body and mind is not selfish. It's a service to Krishna because the body is his instrument, Krishna's instrument. By maintaining good health, emotional stability, and regulated habits, you become fit to serve Krishna. I'm not saying self-care from a perspective that I need to look good, my skin should be flawless, glowing, and whatnot. No, that was not what I meant by self-care. Self-care means regulation and balance. Because when you regulate yourself, Krishna says this in the second chapter, 60 something verse, I forgot the name. He says, regulative principles of freedom. Prabhupada translates that as regulative. Vitraga bhaya krodha manmaya mamupashrita. No, sorry, I forgot the verse. But yeah, there is a verse where Prabhupada says it's regulated principles of freedom. Krishna says that. So regulative principles of freedom. When you regulate yourself, when you self-care, like sleeping at the right time, eating the right kind of food, and having the right association, you're taking care of yourself. Hey, I'm going to be very careful of what I put into my body. How often, how much do I sleep? So all those things that helps supports you to be in the mode of goodness. And in the mode of goodness, remembrance of Krishna is much easier. So rest, hygiene, exercise, mindful eating, all that is supportive to your devotional life. If it's not supported to your devotional life, that self-care is useless. Did that help you? Does that make sense?
Yes.
What Prabhu saying is
In
that
the community, I think this is very hard to. It's not like prevalent. Like some devotees are very devotional, then they don't take care of themselves. They give all their heart and time for devotional service, but internally, externally, they are not self-sufficient.
Yeah, it's well, I don't know. There are
I
devotees.
self-include it sometimes. Not that I have this high standard service. A lot of times when you give your free time, your time that you can use for service and reading and chanting, it's not enough time for your own needs sometimes.
Well, we all have 24 hours, right? In the same 24 hours, Steve Jobs could create $1 billion industry, and Elon Musk runs 4 separate $1 billion industries. He's practically going to be the first person on this world to be a trillionaire. So he has the same amount of time that I have. So then how can he do so much and I cannot do it? So there has to be something missing, right? So it's the prioritization that's missing. So and our mind is distracted for sure. All our minds are very distracted. It doesn't let us focus. So by prioritization, and I'm not telling you to start it from tomorrow. If every day we are waking up at, let's say, 8 o'clock, decrease half an hour, try to wake up at 7:30. But by taking care of your body and by learning to prioritize what's important for me and what's not important for me, then I'm able to prioritize my bhakti and I'm able to accommodate many more things. I remember 13 years ago, when I started chanting, I would do 4 rounds. And it was such a nightmare for me to do those 4 rounds because I would try to finish it off when I'm walking to the bus stop because I used to take a bus to work. And then in the bus, it was a 15-20 minute drive. I would do it then while coming back in the evening. And it was a nightmare. I said, how do people do 16 rounds? And here I am today. I'm doing 16 rounds. I do my reading. I do my hearing. I do so many things. Not that I'm where I would wish I would be, but prioritization makes a lot of a difference. So if somebody says that, oh, I have so much on my plate that I cannot invest in myself or do some other stuff, I don't know if that's the right approach. And frankly, I don't know. There might be some devotees who might be doing a lot, but that's the way I see it, my viewpoint. Did that make sense?
I have a question about the Namabhas,
Yes.
Namaprat, and
Yes, Mati.
so those are the stages for improvement, or
Those are the three levels where we do our chanting. So Nama Aparad means we are doing it at an offensive stage. Offensive stage means we are we are chanting, but at the same time, I am envious of other devotees. I want to interfere in, there are many things going on in my mind that, oh, how dare he get this service? Why didn't I get it? And you become envious of the other, you become jealous, or you want to consciously hurt them or something
right,
of that sort. So that's Namabhas. That
that's
you are,
Namaprat.
yeah, Krishna does not appreciate that. But then obviously Krishna's name is very powerful. So you might get some benefit, but not that benefit that you should get by chanting. So that's Namabhas, Nama Aprad.
So these are
Na,
all levels for, yeah.
that's the lowest level. And Namabhas, Abhas means to realize. You start getting some realizations. And that happens when you are constantly doing your bhajan, your practices properly, with consistency and sincerity. You're doing your services, trying to follow what Prabhupada is telling us. So then eventually we come to a stage where we start realizing some benefit of that chanting. I have some realizations. My heart, now when I sit down to chant, my mind doesn't distract me as much as it used to do. So that's the second stage. And then the topmost stage is Shuddhanam, pure name. Then my heart is fully engaged in chanting 24/7. I'm just dying to chant. That's the pure name. Yeah, those are
Like
three levels of.
Uttama.
Yeah, that's the Uttam Bhakti. Yes, topmost level of Bhakti.
Topmost. So this is all. I don't see any purport for this in the seventh text.
So here, Prabhupada talks here. There are three stages in chanting the holy name of the Lord. Offensive stage, stage of lessening offenses, and the pure stage.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Prabhupada talks about it.
Yeah, pure stage, right.
Yeah, the three stages Prabhupada talks about. Yes. Okay. Anything else
Yeah.
from anyone? Nothing?
I
Okay.
have a question for the next exam that we got the how we're supposed to